Scott here again on Flip That Script. And today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about going or maintaining low contact. Low contact is a way for you to not end up severing ties, but at the same time keeping your exposure to toxic family members to a minimum. In my particular case, I had already been low contact for years without even knowing what it was, because apparently that's also what my father and brother wanted. My brother, who's a workaholic, always talking about how busy he is, always bragging about his supposed, and it may be true, accumulation of wealth. And my father often claiming that he just got a beep in when we were on the phone together, which I now very much doubt, because he'd always be like, "Would you believe it? Here it comes again." It would always be a supposedly important call having to do with doctors or something. In any case, with you, it might be that you haven't been low contact, but you now find that you really do want to reduce your contact with them because of the nature of how things have gone when you are in touch. Something that I would recommend, that a lot of other people that have been through this experience, as well as psychologists and therapists and so forth, recommend, is that if you are going to go or maintain low contact, it's really best to meet in a neutral place somewhere in public, so you don't feel like they're invading your space, and at the same time meeting at one of their residences kind of puts you on their turf and in their territory, and that can be a bad thing also. I mentioned in some previous videos other safeguards that you might want to keep in place. So besides recommending that you meet somewhere neutral in public, you can decide that you, even meeting in public, that you only meet with them for a specified amount of time. You can have your own simple reason for why your time is limited. You can also only meet with them if a certain other person is present with them, and or that a certain person is present with you. You kind of have to keep the topics to whatever extent that you can kind of guide the conversation. Keep it light and to non-potentially controversial subjects such as politics, religion. You can disclose very little. You can kind of almost go gray rock with them even when you meet them in person. I don't want to talk about that. That's personal. I told you that that subject was off limits. And be sure, as challenging as it might be, to not let them trigger you. And you always have the right, and actually the responsibility in terms of being better about your own self-care, to leave the situation when and as necessary if they're going to stubbornly try to do the things that they've traditionally done, such as criticize you, keep trying to dig for information, trying to touch on sensitive topics, making little jabs, and so forth. You have the right to remove yourself from the situation. You can either say something simple about why you're leaving, or if you just consistently do that, they'll know why. If you always do it right after they cross the line, and so forth. Low contact could also just be limited to phone contact only. The same is in the case with getting together in person. As I said, preferably somewhere public where you limit the time, you limit the topics of conversation, you kind of gray rock, keeping answers simple and short. You have the right to limit how often get-togethers are. If you're going low contact, just by definition, probably shouldn't be more than maybe every few months. Somebody that's low contact with a toxic, abusive family member. Kind of a ballpark here, but I would say that you shouldn't be in touch in person or on the phone more than maybe every 2-3 months. Maybe only special occasions, maybe only holidays. Some people will still send a card for birthday, anniversary, major holiday. But again, the idea of low contact is kind of that middle ground between severing ties and the other end of trying to act as if the relationship can go deep at all or be a true connection, understanding the limitations and all the things that are dissatisfying to you regarding the relationship, but that for your own personal reasons, if you have feelings of guilt, you might want to rethink that logically, but I'm not going to judge if you want to do this, provided that you keep all the other things in place that I mentioned, such as duration of the contact, the frequency of the contact, and other safeguards that you have in place, and your ability and your need to be more in control of the situation than you have historically.